Okay. Good morning, Zoom. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, world. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you all. I'll just get situated and then we'll get into it. There's a lot to share today. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Last night's accountability call was fantastic. So to everyone who was with me on that call, thank you. And thank you to everybody who has ever been an impact, because actually I can with absolute certainty say that all of this stuff is happening because of that commitment, consistency, and repetition. All of it. So to everybody who was with me during the slowly phase and who's been building the momentum of presence, of connection, of alignment throughout the years, thank you. Thank you, Carol. That means a lot coming from you. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you to all of you. Thanks, Joni. So I'll give it a few minutes and we'll get into everything we have to cover today. I personally can't wait. Good morning, Terence. Morning, Millie. I have nothing but persistence and patience. Because for me it was only ever a matter of time. I knew there would come a time when all of you would, first of all, finally show up. And secondly, live in the truth of who you all are. Grateful for that. Thanks, Lorene. All right. Boy, that tea tastes good today. Thanks to Jan for making it. Morning, Bill. Morning, Marin. Morning, Luke. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, world. Morning, Chandruti. Good morning, good morning. Morning, Leon. Morning, Rebecca. Morning, Kate. Morning, Robbie. Morning, Diana. All right. Come on, hurry up and be 7:30 already so I can start. Laura Lynn's going to have to start tracking the seconds. We're going to have to get me one of those Formula One beep, 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 beep things. You know, so I can get a good launch off of pole. Good morning, everyone. Morning, morning, morning. A warm welcome to all of you. Good morning, Mark. All right, well, while we're waiting, just take some breaths. And as always, when you begin to feel a shift in your state of being, you can just leave me a one or yes in the chat. So this morning, I've been wanting to have this conversation with you for almost 47 years. I can't quite say that because it will be 47 years on Saturday. So as it stands right now, it's almost 47 years. My grandmother would share stories of great beings who had access to truth of themselves, who lived out in the middle of nowhere, who had no care or concern about the material manifest world anymore. They were just so lost in the oneness and so in the bliss of the experience of the infinite potential that they are, that people would find them, and all of a sudden in their presence the people that had come to see them would experience miracles. And these stories always fascinated me because as I had gotten older, the stories had begun to remain the same, yet the traditions had varied as my family had expanded its spiritual exploration into other traditions. So one of my uncles began following a Sikh guru called Darshan Singh. Most of my family was deeply following, with devotion, people of the Kashmir Shaivite tradition. And what I noticed was that even though the tradition had changed, this ability to access the miraculous and miracles happening in the presence of an individual remained consistent. And then, of course, in Christianity, we have wonderful accounts of Jesus, St. Francis, St. Teresa of Avila, and so many other beings from all over the world, Sufi mystics and teachers, who have all been designated as places and spaces where the miraculous becomes possible. And as a result, people would come to see these beings from all over the world. So what exactly was it that was happening? Were miracles actually being performed? Or were people just living in the profound truth of themselves? And as a result of that, the people that would come to see them would just receive everything that they needed. You see, in ancient civilizations and cultures, they wouldn't fix you, heal you, change you, improve you. There's no PDF presentation. There was no neurofeedback machine. There was no need to scientifically prove the existence of something that you can't quantify. They very clearly understood that every issue or problem that somebody had was purely as a result of the fact that that individual had forgotten who they really were. So let's try it for a second. Close your eyes and breathe and relax. And we're just going to accept, not fake it till you make it, not pretend. We're going to accept that who we really are, beyond all of these emotions, these feelings, the body, the story, the past, all the stuff that doesn't carry on, that is finite, that who and what we really are is an infinite pure potential, an infinite field of potential. Now, in every one of these instances, because every person who had come to see one of these great beings was still living in separation and duality, they would falsely attribute the miracle to the individual that they were with. However, I would like to float an interesting hypothesis or observation that actually it was not the person that they went to see who performed the miracle. The person who they were drawn to see from whatever faith, whatever tradition, whatever belief system, was just wholly aware of who they are. And that in the presence of that remembrance, the individual who comes to see such a person remembers who they are, and they perform the miracle on themselves. Leave me a one or yes in the chat if this makes sense. If you can see that. So this morning, you're all going to perform the miracle on yourself. And the first thing I would love for all of you to do is to, of course, accept, yes, I'm human. Totally. Of course. And at the deepest level of my being, I am source potential and source energy. And that everything is that. And let's just imagine for a moment that that source potential and source energy is like a fountain that's always been within you. That for whatever reason you haven't taken care of, maybe the plumbing's a bit short, needs to be serviced, maybe some debris from all the years of negligence. Just giving it a good old tidy up. And then just allowing that fountain of infinite potential, that fountain of infinite possibility, to begin to flow into every area of your life. Your potential is not defined or determined by your material circumstance. Your potential is always inherently present within you all, whether you ever access it or align with it or not. Leave me a 1 or a yes in the chat when you begin to feel like that fountain is flowing. And so the first thing that we're going to do is have every area of your life become a reflection of the truth of who you are, not who you believed you needed to become in order to survive, fit in, and belong. But instead, allowing every area of your life to be sourced from this infinite potential that's the truth of you, that's the truth that lives on beyond you, that's infinite, eternal, and immortal. So let's try an experiment. Let's remind your cells that actually their potential is infinite. Let's remind your organs that their potential is infinite. Let's remind your blood, your bones, your nervous system, your muscles, your connective tissue, your joints, and all that you are at the level of your biology, that actually its potential is infinite. And again, it's not fake it till you make it. It's sourcing from the deepest truth of yourself. It's not pretending. It's actually, honestly, potentially for the first time ever in your life, acknowledging the truth. And let me know how you're doing in the chat. And then we're just going to let this remembrance spill over into finances, creativity, relationships, parenting, grandparenting, business, friendships, everything else. Until all of a sudden, your life begins to reflect your truth and your potential back to you. Continuing to breathe and relax. and recognizing that your potential has nothing to do with your material circumstance. Let me know how you're doing and how you're feeling in the chat. And let me know how you're doing over on YouTube. So in ancient civilizations and cultures, they wouldn't heal you, they wouldn't fix you, they wouldn't plug you into a biofeedback machine, they wouldn't measure your brain waves. They would just simply remind you of the truth of who you are, that you are, in fact, this source energy, this place from which everything comes into creation. And that everything, every single thing, everything comes from that place. So now, beginning to allow everything in your life to reflect not your personality, not who you believed you needed to become in order to survive, but instead your potential. Do you see the difference? And can you also see that your potential has nothing to do with your present circumstance or situation? That actually every human being's potential is always infinite, regardless of their circumstance. Regardless. So just take some breaths and we're going to slow it down. So here's what would happen. Somebody somewhere in the world, regardless of the religion, the tradition, would remember who they really are. They would have an awakening of some form. They'd begin to remember that they're not just these emotions or these feelings or these thoughts or the body, that there's something more, some higher power at work in their lives. That's an awakening. And then they would deeply surrender into the awakening and they would access this nothingness, this emptiness. And this nothingness and this emptiness is a source of creation itself. So when you have your awakening, if you're not careful, you'll become a philosopher, a guru, or a spiritual teacher. When you deeply surrender and you move into the next phase of the awakening, which is connecting with the infinite nothingness, the neutrality from which everything comes, if you're not careful, you'll become a saint or a sage or a mystic. And then, especially in this second phase of your awakening, people will falsely attribute miracles and breakthroughs to you, even though all you are ever doing is being yourself in the world. And people are performing miracles on themselves. Now, here's where it gets a bit wild on a Wednesday. I am certain that if all of you allow yourselves to walk around remembering the truth of who you really are, as this infinite pure potential, that everyone that you meet will remember who they are too, and then they will perform every kind of miracle on themselves. How many of you can see that? That it's not a technique, it's not a modality. It's remembering the truth of yourself and living from that truth. So we're just going to slow it down for a second. Every single one of you has an infinite potential, regardless of your material circumstance. It's not wishful thinking. It's just the truth. Just take a breath and just accept that the same infinite energy that dwells within you, the source of all creation itself, that's the truth of who you are, is present in everything. And this is corroborated by Christian mysticism. Jesus himself pointed to this truth. It's corroborated in Buddhism. It's corroborated in Sufism. It's corroborated in every path and every tradition all over the world. It's even been corroborated by science. Although they don't know what they are exactly proving the existence of just yet. One day they'll figure it out. So, if indeed your potential is infinite at all times, regardless of your material circumstance, and you allow yourself to live from it, what do you think happens to your life? If your potential is indeed infinite at all times, no matter what, and you allow yourself to live from it, what do you think happens to your life? So now, allow it to happen. Just take a breath and allow it to happen. I'm not defined by my present condition or material circumstance. There is an infinite potential within me that has been spoken of by every great being from every corner of the world who's walked the earth, who had any awareness of themselves. They all say the same thing. So how is it that the same truth has been spoken all over the world by great beings throughout human history? Well, because maybe it's the truth. So in ancient civilizations and cultures, they wouldn't heal you, they wouldn't fix you, they wouldn't change you, they wouldn't improve you, they wouldn't help you understand yourself, and they wouldn't do PDF presentations. They would just remind you, of the truth of who you really are. So remember. And then, just allow yourself to live from that truth. So can you see how it's not spiritual bypassing? It's not fake it till you make it. It's not pretending to be something. It's actually just acknowledging that you are this infinite potential because it's the truth. You're not trying to fabricate something. You're just finally acknowledging that who you are is this place and space of creation itself at the deepest level of your being. That's who you are. The more scientists examine reality, the more they find an infinite nothingness. Maybe that infinite nothingness is this place and space from which everything comes from. And based on everything that every great being throughout human history has said, maybe you are that. Maybe that's who you really are. So you're not your bank balance, you're not the diagnosis, you're not the label, you're not the divorce, you're not the unhappy relationship, you're not the happy relationship, you're not the fame, you're not the success, you're not the fortune, You're none of these things. All of those things are temporary and have a beginning and an end. Who you really are is the infinite source from which everything arises and subsides. And maybe that's what everything is. So just seeing this fountain that's always been within you, filling every area, flooding into every area of your life. So maybe what every single person was searching for in the form of a material thing, a grail, a cup, a chalice, a fountain, a sacred place or space somewhere in the world that held all of the power of creation in the universe, well, maybe that actually wasn't a material thing. Maybe that was just something within us all along. And they were just pointing to a truth that exists within every human being. And maybe it's okay now to accept that truth. That regardless of what's going on in my life, regardless of my material circumstance, I am always at infinite potential, because who I am at the deepest level of my being has nothing to do with what's going on in my life. Not a single thing. So just imagining that cup, that grail, that fountain, whatever it was that you were conditioned into believing, whatever form that place took for you, is actually within you. And it doesn't really have a form. We've given it the form of a fountain just so you can connect with something. But maybe it's actually just the source of creation itself. In ancient civilizations and cultures, they wouldn't heal you. They wouldn't fix you. They wouldn't change you. They wouldn't help you solve your problems. They would just remind you. They would just remind you that you are this infinite potential. Now, how would they remind you? By embodying it. You see, because you can't remind someone just through words. You remind the world through your willingness to embody it. So let's do that. Take some breaths. And just totally relaxing into it and embodying it. And let me know when you begin to feel that embodiment to the best of your ability, or experience it. And just allow that potential to be infinite. Why? Well, because it's the source of everything. And that cup, that grail, that fountain, that sacred place that everyone's been trying to find outside of them, it's actually within them. It's actually within you right now. And this is how beings from all over the world, from all different traditions, have accessed it. And this is why all of you from all over the world are accessing it now. And the more you embody it, and the more you allow it and relax into it, the more everyone that you meet will remember it within themselves and experience it. They'll say things like, "Wow, I like your hair. Great shoes. You know, you have a presence about you." They'll latch onto whatever they can. Some of them will say, "Wow, there's something different about you. And when I'm with you, I just feel so peaceful." But ultimately, one day, because you allowed yourself to be who you are and live from the truth of it, they will live from the truth of themselves. And then they will be that for everyone else. So we are now at the suddenly phase of our time together. And the suddenly phase, because at first it was slowly, the suddenly phase is where all of you finally accept the truth of yourselves and live from it in the world. And remind everyone that you meet in the world, without saying a single word, because you don't have to, that they have this infinite potential too. Until one day, we'll get to the all at once phase. And that all at once phase is not too far away. And remember, every kind of thing will happen around you, but you're not doing it. You're just living in the remembrance of yourself. And then everyone around you will begin to all of a sudden go through every kind of adjustment and alignment in their life that they need to, that they were always destined to go through, that they were meant to. Sending you all my love. Laurel. Stop typing Om Shanti. Is that a well? What's the emoji? Day 1531. It's a fountain. Beautiful, Laurel. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let's do it. Close your eyes, you beautiful human beings. Open your palms. Take some long, deep cleansing breaths. Good morning, sweet friends, and welcome to another Call to Calm meditation. As a child, I grew up hearing stories of saints, sages, and great beings from all traditions who were so lost in their love of the divine, so one with the beloved, that everyone who came to see them would experience miracles, would experience the truth of themselves. And what's fascinating is that this wonderful depiction of connection wasn't isolated to one particular faith or tradition. It's actually been present everywhere, in every faith and every tradition, since the beginning of time. Coincidentally, ancient civilizations and cultures wouldn't heal you, they wouldn't fix you, they wouldn't teach you anything. They wouldn't plug you into a neurofeedback machine or check your bioresonance. They would just simply remind you of who you really are. Typically, they'd send you off to the priest or the priestess or the designated holy person, the person who had remembered who they were in the village or the town. And you'd go sit with them. And maybe they'd talk to you, maybe they wouldn't. And in their presence, you'd begin to remember who you are. And then all of a sudden, whatever it was that you needed, you'd begin to receive. Except it wasn't coming from the person that you were with. It was coming from within you. We've also heard story after story of faiths, traditions, civilizations, and cultures seeking spiritual artifacts. Artifacts that allegedly contain the power of creation itself. While I've actually come to know and experience the fact that that power is not found in any physical form or material object. Actually, it's infinitely present within all of you and all things. Take some breaths, you beautiful human beings. Open your palms and take some long, deep cleansing breaths. Resting in the awareness of your breath transforms your life into a living meditation. Allowing your every inhalation and exhalation to support you in accessing this place of potential that dwells within you, that's always dwelled within you. And simply allowing it and relaxing into it, completely noticing that your potential, who you really are, has nothing to do with your material circumstance or situation. That actually, that is always infinite. Depending upon the culture or tradition that you're from, allowing this source to take whatever form it needs to take for you. For some of you, it can be a golden chalice. For others of you, it can be a simple wooden cup made by the hands of a loving carpenter. It can be a bowl. It can be a waterfall, a fountain, a natural spring. Recognizing that every sacred object that everyone's been trying to find or discover actually isn't an object at all. It is a state of being, and it's within you. Continuing to welcome your every inhalation and exhalation, and allowing your life, the life that you're living right now, to be informed by your potential, not your past, not your present circumstance, but your potential, seeing this water, this light, this energy, whatever form it takes, overflowing out of the cup the container, the bowl, the waterfall, the fountain, the oasis, into every area of your life. Your finances, your health, your relationships, your career and calling, your creativity, your spirituality, your religion, into every area of life and living, your friends, your peer group, until all of a sudden, this pure potential is now present in every area of your life. Totally remembering who you are. Infinite pure potential. And allowing yourself to fully embody it. Knowing and experiencing firsthand that your potential is always infinite. In the coming days, weeks, I would say months, but I don't think it's going to take that long. Every area of your life is going to come into harmony and alignment with this infinite potential that is you. It's all going to become peaceful, graceful, a flow, a harmony, in all of it. And don't be surprised if the truth of who you are as infinite potential's version of your life is greater than the version of your life that you've allowed yourself to live. Continuing to rest in the awareness of your breath. Accepting infinity as the truth of who you are, because it is. And allowing this infinity, in whatever form resonates with you, to begin to infuse and inform every area of your life. Every human being has within them an infinite potential. No human being is defined by their material circumstance or present condition. In ancient civilizations and cultures, they wouldn't heal you, they wouldn't fix you, they wouldn't change you, they wouldn't give you a PDF presentation, nor would they plug you into some machine that scientifically tries to calibrate your state of being. They would remind you who you are by embodying it themselves. And all of a sudden, every area of your life would begin to reflect that truth. So just seeing Your finances reflecting the truth of your potential. Your relationships reflecting the truth of that potential. Your career reflecting the truth of that potential. Your creativity reflecting the truth of that potential. Every area of your life, your body, your biology, reflecting the truth of that potential. Until before you know it, your entire life is now mirroring back to you who you really are as infinite source. Your entire life mirroring back to you who you really are. As infinite source. Today, I remember who I am, and I allow myself to live from it. And I wholeheartedly acknowledge that my present circumstance, the present material condition of my life, has nothing to do with me. It is not a limitation. It is not getting in the way. It is not the truth of who I am. Take some breaths and gently and slowly can bring your awareness back. So can you see how it's the absolute opposite of fake it till you make it? You don't have to fake it. You're not pretending. You're living from the deepest truth of yourself. And then your life becomes a reflection of that truth. And it feels miraculous, but it's not. It's just that you're just finally allowing yourself to receive what was always present within you. This is everything that we focus on in Impact. Is how do we take this state of being and allow it to be present in every area of our lives, until eventually our life becomes a reflection of the potential that we are, the truth. How are you all doing? So, a couple of things. First of all, and just to clarify, your potential is not defined by your race, your gender, your level of education, your current situation or circumstance, your past, your story, where you've come from, or what you have. Your potential is already inherently present within you, and it is infinite. Always has been. When you live from the truth of yourself, after a while your life begins to become a reflection of it. And then you become a living, breathing reminder of it. And then when people meet you, it's almost like they meet themselves. They remember who they are. And so now that we're in the suddenly phase of things, which is where after all of this commitment, consistency and repetition, you now suddenly allow yourself to get it. Just continue to allow yourself to receive. Okay? Just allow yourself to receive. So, just to recap, your potential is not defined by your present circumstance, situation, or condition. Your potential is always infinite, because that's the truth of who you really are. And then what people perceive to be the miracle is actually nothing more than you just catching up to your own infinity. What people then perceive to be the miracle is nothing more than their willingness to finally catch up to the truth of themselves. So you are never limited in any way by anyone or anything, ever. You are always infinite, pure potential. All right. Today's Wednesday. If you're on YouTube, like the bell button, subscribe, spread the word. Everyone else is infinite pure potential too. That we've been looking for material objects, chalices, cups, fountains, an oasis in the middle of the desert somewhere that has some mystical, magical property. But in fact, that property and that quality exists within every human being. It is not a place. It is who you are. And that the more we allow ourselves to be that and remember it, the more everyone else gets to remember it and be it too. Today we've got a group alignment session. Group alignment session is your opportunity to be in presence, to be in this place and space of pure potential, and to allow your life to become a reflection of it. Impact is then where we begin to build businesses on this foundation, have relationships on this foundation, parent from this foundation, experience life from this place and space of truth. Impact folks, there is a semi-private today for all of my folks in Europe. Look forward to being with you there. Have a fantastic Wednesday. I love you all with all my heart. Thanks for being here. Thanks for waking up early. And remember, your potential is infinite. Regardless of your present circumstance or situation, you are infinite. Your potential is infinite. And it always has been. And it always will be. Give yourselves a hug from me. Bye, everyone.